Hello again, everybody. Welcome into another episode of HBCU Huddle. I am CJ Hurts, joined alongside for the third live-action version of the Huddle, Mike Wallace. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, it's the third semi-live, real live.
Yep.
I know we did a couple scrimmages, but now we're ready, man. It counts on the board right now. So I'm doing well, man. Looking forward to this. It's been a long time coming. But as we convert a lot of our projects from audio-based to video-based, we want people to see CJ. CJ needs more
because they don't see me enough.
Needs more
they don't see me on the Jessica Benson show.
Yeah,
or the Odds Couple.
The Odds Couple. We're trying to get you every day.
I'm on the billboard outside. Just walk by and look up. You'll see me
in the community. You know what I mean? You can catch them all over the city. Catch them on the bus line.
Oh yeah, absolutely on the bus. Absolutely, I'm all over the bus. Got to end this show and hop on the 50. Get all the way down Poplar for a doctor's appointment. We've got a great show lined up for everybody. We are going to, last week we talked about it organically, but we're going to sit down and get Mike Wallace's top hip-hop and rap performers from the 80s, top individual acts and top groups from the 80s, so that's going to be fun. We're going to talk some about Missy Elliott. I feel like she's been on this show more than a handful of times, so we're going to talk some more about Missy Elliott as she continues to do big things. But first, mini camps are about to get underway. Mini camps are underway for most teams. Some teams are still waiting on their camp start dates. Over 20 dudes from HBCUs have been signed to mini camp rosters. You got Cheerless, the Alcorn State linebacker, second team. All SWAC was signed to the Patriots. That's going to bother me. I'm going to figure that out. But he was signed to a roster. You've got Darius Hagans, the phenomenal running back from Virginia State, first team. All SEAC was signed to the Colts roster, if I recall correctly. And Mark Evans, the phenomenal offensive lineman out of Arkansas Pine Bluff. He got on with the Saints. There's a great story about him and what he went through going from homeless to the highest paid undrafted rookie free agent in the NFL. Mike, when you think about what that story entails with Mark Evans, what stands out to you?
You know, I having a chance to, one of our plans during this HBCU Huddle season was to get over to Arkansas Pine Bluff and have a chance to talk to their coaching staff and their players. That team will be at the Southern Heritage Classic right here in Memphis in September, that program. So we definitely are going to get over there before that game. But, Mark Evans being one of the preeminent offensive line prospects that you have from HBCU ranks, it was kind of surprising that he didn't get drafted. I had him going in the draft, but only one HBCU football player got drafted. And you heard time and time again some people had some some concerns about that. But having said that, this is a guy that goes down to, New Orleans. It's in the region, not too far from where he's from, and he has a chance to really make that team. So when you get prioritized after the draft, and the way this works is that, having covered the NFL years ago, once you get to that sixth round, 7th round, most guys want to hear their names called because, again, you heard your name on the draft. But a lot of agents would tell you you're better off skipping the 6th and the 7th round and going into an undrafted free agent situation because now you get to recruit the teams that are best for you. And if you're a priority guy like the way Mark Evans was, he got a sweetheart deal from the New Orleans Saints. He's going to make almost $250,000 as a rookie undrafted free agent. He's going to have a place in that rotation. And, knowing that staff and knowing what the Saints are and how they're set up, he has a chance to do some real big things there.
Absolutely. Don't forget, this is the organization who selected Teron Armstead 75th overall in the 2013 NFL Draft. Armstead, who came from Arkansas Pine Bluff, just like Evans, ended up getting on with the Dolphins where he's had a really successful run. Couple-time All-Pro, Pro Bowler, 4-time Pro Bowler. So, the Saints might be thinking to themselves, he reminds us of Armstead. We can go out here and get him and then grow him and develop him, and he'll be one of our linemen for the next decade. Because if you get a good lineman, that's how long a good lineman about lasts.
Absolutely.
7, 8, 9, 10 years, and you can keep that person on your roster, that's a big get for you.
That shelf life for offensive linemen is there, especially guys like Mark who can play both the interior at guard and position himself out to tackle as well too. So he's in one of those positions where it's definitely a growth opportunity. And the Saints, according to HBCU Game Day, also picked up South Carolina State wide receiver Shaq Davis, and we saw him, in the Celebration Bowl, wreaking some havoc as well too. So when you talk about two HBCU players combining to make almost $500,000 in undrafted free agent money going into the New Orleans Saints, I'm looking forward to seeing the Saints play now. I'm definitely going to track what the Saints are doing, and in particular those two guys too there too. So when you look at those guys, Isaiah Land signed with the Dallas Cowboys, and if you go back a year ago, Marquise Bell, his teammate at Florida A&M, was signed by the Dallas Cowboys as an undrafted free agent. So you're seeing big-time names that we've talked about on this podcast time and time again find homes, and now they have a chance to make these mini camps, which will be opening up in the next couple of weeks.
It is the Jets. Shirless is with the Jets. Wrong, right division, wrong team.
That's all right.
Not the Patriots.
He's
with the
somewhere,
Jets.
right?
Yes. I cannot wait to see what ends up happening with Higgins in that Colts offense. Offense that, honestly, when you look at the pieces, you look at Nelson, you look at the run game, they want to run the football. That is what they want to do. And Higgins is a big, physical, fast back.
Yeah.
Like I said at the start, first team all SEAC last year, and probably wins that conference's MVP, whatever that award is called. Probably wins that, if not for Byers being at Virginia Union. I think there is something there, more than a little bit there. And I look forward to seeing.
I said SEAC, but CIAA.
CIAA. SEAC is CIAA.
Now, when you look at he's going to Indianapolis, right?
Yep.
And when you look at, he'll already have another HBCU brethren right there with him, in Shaq Leonard. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those, middle linebacker, big time, big contract, coming off of some injuries. And this is going to be a situation where you go to a team that has an HBCU culture, or a couple of guys in the locker room who know who you are, who understand the journey you had to take. That helps a lot of guys, when it comes to trying to make the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get off of this topic, there's a great piece about Mark Evans. You sent it to me, and it was phenomenal. It's about how he ended up going from being homeless to being in the NFL now. If you hadn't read it, go read it. Words can't do it justice. It's a great piece. I forget where it's at.
Yeah, it's HBCU
Game Day. They do great work over there. Absolutely, go check that out.
Check that out. It's also, you can find it also at Arkansas Pine Bluffs sports media relations site too. They've also tweeted out on their Twitter account. So yeah, just a guy that, again, man, because of Hurricane a couple of years ago blew through his hometown and wiped out his home, and he and his mother and 4 siblings had to go live with another relative. They were homeless before that, and then they had to go make that transition to go from there to putting himself in position to be able to buy his mom a house and a car. I mean, just that alone tells you the kind of journey that this young man has gone through. So shout out to the story, HBCU Game Day, Arkansas Pine Bluffs football program, and Mark Davis II himself for putting himself in position to be an NFL prospect who's going to try to make this team from a training camp standpoint.
Absolutely. Let's transition, Mike.
Yeah.
It's time for that 80s hip-hop rap list.
Man.
Been looking forward to this all week. Our pick 6 this week, Mike Wallace went through and gave his 6 favorite 80s or early hip-hop groups and individual artists as well.
Well,
so
the assignment, CJ, the assignment was my pick 6 top hip-hop rap artists from the 80s, right?
Yep.
Then I gave you my 6.
Yes.
And then I said, well, groups are different, right? Because back then, there were solo artists and then there were groups.
Yeah.
So when I told you that I had a different list for groups, you was like, all right, well, send that too.
Send it.
So I had a double pick 6. I guess that makes it a pick 12. But the reason why this is important, because we had so much fun last week on last week's show, opening it up, talking about that. And it was all kind of based in, LL Cool J. And his tour is coming to FedEx Forum August 22nd. You'll see the graphic pop up on the screen shortly. But he's bringing that old school energy back to FedEx Forum. The Force Live Tour featuring LL Cool J, The Roots, who were just here in Memphis.
They were great.
Yes, for Bill Street Music Festival. DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ Z Trip, Big Boy, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, Jadakiss, Juvenile, MC Light, Rakim, August 22nd at FedEx Forum. And you're going to hear a lot of these familiar names because a couple of them made my list when you talk about the best hip-hop artists
Let's start with
of
groups.
the 80s.
Let's start with groups. Best hip-hop groups.
We're only going 80s, though. So
only 80s.
And sometimes some groups started in late 80s and transitioned and hit their heyday in the 90s. And I didn't necessarily count them, but we're starting, you say groups, right?
Groups.
6. And we'll have them pop up on the screen. 2 Live Crew. I actually had a chance to be a roadie with the 2 Live Crew.
You're lying,
on
Mike.
a Louisiana swing of their tour.
What?
Absolutely. It's not suitable for public audiences, and you got to sign non-disclosure agreements for everything that was involved in that.
I hate to see other people living my dream.
Oh, man. But, yes, I had a 2-show roadie stint helping out with the crew in Louisiana back when I was in college, man. So 2 Live Crew is number 6. Nasty As They Want to Be, that was the first album. It was a Richard Pryor album and a 2 Live Crew album where you have to play it and turn it all the way down so your parents don't know what you're listening to. So, yes, that was 2 Live Crew was it for me right there. Number 5, Kid and Play. Who did not do the kickstep? I'm a product of the House Party original movie era.
Yep.
The 80s and the high top fade. Kid and Play was big time, man. And my brothers and I, we once did a family talent show. Made costumes up, and we were Kid and Play.
Nice.
And, so that was pretty cool. Number 4. Number 4. Houdini.
Great group.
Freaks Come Out at Night.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like One Love. I mean, the whole thing, man. They had a different vibe, a different zone that they always got in. And if you listen to Houdini back then, the quality of their music, the sound, I learned on a documentary that they recorded a lot of their music in London. They went over to the studios in London to record because the recording equipment was much better over there than it was for the early 80s rappers that they can get over here. So Houdini, shout out to them. Number 3, NWA. NWA is one of those groups that came out in 87, 88, 89, and they transitioned into the early 90s. But their first 2 albums, man, I mean, that shook up and established gangster rap. People can be critical of what it meant and all the things it exposed, but Straight Outta Compton was one of those movies that told you what that era was like. And Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and MC Ren, I mean, all of those guys individually had careers as well, but when they came together, when they first started, Straight Outta Compton was phenomenal. Number 2, it was hard not to put these guys at number 1.
I thought they were 1.
But Run DMC. Daryl, Run, I mean, come on, man. It was one of those situations where that was my indoctrination to rap and hip-hop, was seeing Crush Groove, and the first scene of that movie was them in the studio busting out King of Rock. And the beat kicking in and everything. Run DMC, man, I respect them, those guys. Jam Master Jay, we lost him. But Daryl and Run are still around, and they're still doing their thing, representing the culture and everything hip-hop has meant. And number one, my guy Chuck D and Public Enemy. Like, man, when Do the Right Thing came out, and the height of the sort of the Black Power era, and being conscious about who you are and where you came from, nobody does it better than Chuck D, man. He's a historian, and to this day he's still active on social media. He's still promoting the culture of hip hop. So that's my pick 6 right there. Best 80s rap groups of all time. 2 Live Crew, Kid and Play, Houdini, NWA, Run DMC, and Public Enemy.
Great list. We'll take a break. I got some thoughts about this list. We'll get your other list, and we'll get into more on the other side of HBCU Huddle right here on Grind City Media.
Memphis, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Monday Night Raw, where it's at? Where you at? Live in Memphis, August 28th. Tickets and ringsider packages available now.
The summer concert experience of a lifetime.
My name is Erica Badu.
With the Grammy Award-winning Erica Badu.
She gave me the life that I came to live.
Erica Badu, like you've never seen her before. The music, the vibe of Erica Badu. With special guest Yasin Bey. DM Follow Me Tours with Erica Badu. July 21st at FedEx Forum. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
The soulful and powerful voice September 6th, FedEx Forum. The Kaleidoscope Tour. Tickets are on sale now at laurendaigle.com. Lauren Daigle, live in concert. Produced by AEG Presents.
Don't miss the newest Grind City Media podcast, Infield Fly, with me, Rob Fisher, along with Lang Whitaker and Keith Murphy. Comes out each Tuesday, and we'll have the latest on our favorite teams and yours, regional and superstation teams, the Cardinals, Braves, and Cubs, while going around the horn to check in on the rest of the league. Be sure to subscribe today at grindcitymedia.com, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud.
This is the Nike Air Footscape Woven. So this is kind of a lifestyle running shoe.
Yeah. That's sold out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These have resale value, too.
Those have resale value on them.
Footscapes are comfortable.
They are comfortable.
They're so
comfortable, light.
They're hideous to look at, but they are so comfortable.
It's a cow.
Yeah, they're comfy.
The top area. Don't look at that particular one.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, everybody. What's going on? CJ, Mike, HBCU Huddle. We got Mike's list of best 80s rap groups.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with number 6. I have some thoughts.
Yes.
If we can throw them all the way back up there, the full list, Jacob. I love 2 Live Crew.
Mm-hmm.
And our culture maker last week was Roy Wood Jr.
Yeah.
And he has a great story about encountering the 2 Live Crew.
Okay.
That is great. Is on This Is Not Happening. If you're into comedy at all, This Is Not Happening. A bunch of people, funny people, just get up and share to you some crazy stories. One of the stories Roy Wood shared was 2 Live Crew and some of their parties, their private parties that they would throw. And it's a great story. And in it, he highlights, and for those of you who don't know, a lot of this music that we have, a lot of the freedoms that people have in music, to say the things that they say, doesn't exist without Uncle Luke. Does not exist without Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew, because they took that fight all the way to the Supreme Court and won. People were being arrested for selling 2 Live Crew albums out of actual record stores. They were because it was obscene. And Luther Campbell, 2 Live Crew, they fought it all the way to the Supreme Court and won. And that's why we get, not just the Throat Babies and the WAPs of the world, but like back that thing up. We're not getting back that thing up if 2 Live Crew and Luther Campbell aren't having that fight way in the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, no, we're not getting that. And some people say, that's not necessarily a good thing, because it allowed us to expose elements of the culture and misogynistic rap lyrics and all of these kind of things, and all of that is true. But Luther's plight was that this is my First Amendment right. You can't tell me that I don't have a right to say what my reality is and put this in an artistic form. And to your point, CJ, I was in high school when this thing was happening, right?
Yeah.
So it was that was the push to get. So he won the right to put his music out there the way he wanted it to, but the counter to it was the industry had to put parental advisory stickers on anything that was determined to be vulgar. So yeah, man, I remember the album cover, man, Nasty As They Want to Be. And it was. If you go look up that album cover, it's Fresh Kid Ice, Brother Marquise, and Luther Campbell staring from the beach, and above them are the legs of women in bikinis.
Legs,
like just straight legs, and they're looking through the legs, man. And I know some of that might make some people uncomfortable from that standpoint, but when you're 14 years old, you're like, all right, give me all of this I can handle, man.
It is a very immature genre, right? Like that type of rap is very immature. It's made for immature people.
It is.
And you've got to allow them to grow. And eventually you grow out of most of that.
You do, to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But music is music. And people can get as creative as they want to get. But, yes, they were pioneers for sure.
Houdini.
Yes.
I'm a Hoe is my jam.
Freaks Come Out at Night.
I love it so much. You had NWA on there. They sampled I'm a Hoe for Eazy-E's Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood,
they took that.
Hard.
They took that sample straight from that Houdini Lyric and Public Enemy. That's my father's group. I knew my AB songs I learned in order.
Yeah.
And the rest, I only got the 3. I learned my ABCs first. I learned the Michigan Fight song second.
Okay.
I learned Fight the Power third. Those were the 3 songs I knew by heart at like 3 years old.
All right.
Because of my dad.
Well, if you're gonna do that, then you got to drop a bar. Then you got to drop a bar before we segue. Pick whatever bar you want from Fight the Power. What you got?
Elvis was a hero the most, but he never meant to me the sucker was straight up racist. The sucker was simple and plain. Mother, leave him and John Wayne right on. All right, let's get your list of best rappers, Mike. Let's go. Best rappers from the 80s.
On recall right there, man. All right, so that was my best groups, right? And then I had my best individual ones, right? So from the 80s, 6 is Kool Moe Dee, right? I mean, when it comes to lyricists, in terms of like the education and the enunciation and how he delivered he was a maestro when it came to how he delivered his song, man. And
just the way he could punch.
Go See the Doctor was, that was an education in protecting yourself, as you were getting into, adolescence and sex and all of those kind of things. And Kool Moe Dee was just a maestro when it came to rapping.
Inspires the Nas's, the Jay-Z's, the Tupacs, Fresh Princes. DJ Jazzy Jeff is going to be here in August. But, did you look at the people he inspired?
Yeah.
And straight up, not just inspired, but people who kind of took the flow that he gave, the blueprint from the flow, is great.
He used the word, his vocabulary in his raps. He used the word vernacular in his rap. You know what I'm saying? So, the way he was using, you had to almost kind of, look up the words he was using when you were a certain age, and you were like, man, what does this mean? But he was so pure in terms of that. That was great. Showman, number 5, Biz Markie.
Man.
I had a chance to meet Biz Markie several times. He even came on the set with me, Brevin, Pete, and Fish when we were in Philadelphia for a game. And obviously we lost him. Yeah, we lost him a couple years back. But Biz Markie, man, the Vapors, that was my jam, the Vapors, man, and just how he was able to tell stories and do his thing, man. That was Biz Markie.
Great storyteller.
Yes. Number 4, MC Hammer.
I thought he was 90s. I didn't realize he ran through the 80s.
His first album was I saw him when he was first coming out. This was when these rap groups would come out and these artists would come out. I saw Boyz II Men like this too when they first came out. They would go by record stores and sit in the lobby and sign their albums.
Oh.
And people would line up. You know what I mean, when they were on these tours. So I remember I want to say 9th grade, seeing MC Hammer and Oaktown 357. Girls. Yeah. So this is that. If you go back and look at that MC Hammer, that was in the late 80s. Late 80s. So MC Hammer. No, look, you put on your church shoes and you did the Hammer dance. That's what you did when you were a kid, man. It was So Hammer. Number 3, coolest rapper, and just when you talk about swag before swag became a real term, Dougie Fresh, man. Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick were sort of a duo, but I put Dougie Fresh solo because they both split up immediately and did their own solo thing. But All the Way to Heaven, The Show, to me, The Show is the greatest hip-hop record ever created.
Really?
The Show. Just because it introduced beatboxing, and it also had the flow, and it also just had the beat and the rhyme. It was a great party rap song, hip-hop song. Number 2, as the maestro and the headliner of the show that's coming, the Force Live, is LL Cool J. His longevity and what he's been able to do, transcending himself from 16-year-old, I'm bad, to basically a movie, a star, a primetime TV show star, and everything that he's done in between, man. His longevity started with him being the coolest MC that was out there, man, with the Kango hats and the chains and everything. So LL. And number 1, the greatest rapper that's ever done it. The greatest. And I'm gonna go to my grave. There is no one sicker, stronger, more mentally aware, more socially aware than my man Rakim. Rakim. Follow the Leader, Microphone Fiend, Rakim, man, is just Eric B and Rakim is DJ Eric B. Rakim is just, to me, he is the Michael Jordan of rap. To me. Just in turn. Now, he's not the greatest seller. He didn't. Jay-Z and all these new guys, Drake and all these new guys have turned the game out into $1 billion industry. But if you put him on stage as a lyricist with anybody in the room, anybody on the planet, he's going to come out standing last. and Rakim is my guy.
Got you. That's a great list. I would have put Slick Rick on there. I would take a hammer off and put Slick Rick on there, but that's the only tweak that I've got for you. Funny enough, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, MC Hammer, Dougie Fresh was on Hammer's label. He dropped the album on Hammer's label. You brought up Lottie Dottie, the Slick Rick, and Dougie Fresh. I don't know why I'm blanking on names all of a sudden. Brought that up. That duo was great. I love the way Slick Rick tells stories. That voice to me is so
that British
immediately
he's
like
from,
that's Slick Rick. That's Slick Rick from overseas. It's such a great voice to me. Who is the better beatboxer? Is it Biz Markie or Dougie Fresh? I know we give Dougie Fresh credit for beatboxing and the originator or making it popular.
That's a great.
But when I think beatbox, I think Biz Markie immediately.
Biz Markie was great. Dougie was great, but we also forgetting one other guy, man. Prince Markie D and the Fat Boys.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? The human beatbox. I can't remember the big guy. The biggest of the Fat Boys was the beatbox guy. He was phenomenal too.
Yep.
But because Dougie could do it and just rap and just get you like moving side to side.
Dougie could do it, spit a verse, get back to beatboxing, do another verse, beatbox a hook,
and then dance.
And then,
you know what I'm saying?
Gosh.
And then he just had the whole showmanship flow, man. So, you know, and he's still doing that to this day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, again, man, you can't go wrong with any of those guys.
I said 3 songs. I only knew 3 songs as a kid. 4 songs. I'm Bad LL Cool J.
Oh yeah.
I remember riding in my dad's Honda, Hyundai, whichever car it was. I don't know. The windows rolled down. You had to manually roll down the windows. Wasn't no air conditioning in it. And if he was feeling some type of way, no rapper can rap quite like I can. Take a muscle down. We'd be getting hype in the back seat because even as a child, Mike, I love to hear bad words. I love to hear swear words. And so that was the only thing that I knew my parents had with a bad word in it. It was only one.
Okay.
I ain't met a mother bleeper who could do that yet. And
Prince said, I'm better.
So we would get hyped. We'd be in the back waiting for it, waiting on it. And my dad, being a parent, awful. He would turn it down all the way.
On the
so we wouldn't even hear it.
Oh, man.
I ain't met a mother. Like, what are you doing? We know what it says. Keep it up. Let us at least imagine saying it in our mental minds. Let 6-year-old CJ imagine saying mother bleeper. Come on, man. Let's go.
Man, that dude had, and then he bought the slow, you know what I mean, the love rap, the love song rap, you know what I mean? I need love.
I need love.
I mean, when you was trying to learn how to talk to
I need a round away girl.
Yeah. You know, 12, 13 years old, trying to find the right words to say to a girl, man, all you have to do is put on I need love. And then you're like, all right, cool. And then Heavy D, don't you know?
Oh.
You know, Heavy D had one. So he's an honorable mention, man. Heavy D's an honorable mention.
Look, I was listening to some Heavy D last week. Still hits.
Yeah.
Still hits.
Yeah.
Throw that concert graphic back up for me, Jacob, so we can get a look here to see. August 22nd, LL Cool J made the list.
And
Rakim
Dougie Fresh
made the list. Dougie Fresh made the list.
You know what I'm saying?
Slick Rick made my list. Yeah, it's 4 of these dudes, 4 of these acts on the best 80s hip-hop artists made it to the concert, made it on our list. It'll be a great show. Go check it out August 22nd right here at FedEx Forum. Let's stay in music for the last minute and a half of the show. Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
We've talked about her. She's our culture maker this week. We've talked about her being a culture maker before for all of the giving that she's done. She's given quite a bit to the Virginia area, HBCU, specifically Norfolk State, Hampton, and the rest of them. Well, now she is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She'll be the first female rapper inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, listen, but before we start singing Missy Elliott's phrases, Missy Misdemeanor Elliott's phrases, let me be clear. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is American Music Hall of Fame. So while she's not of the rock and roll genre, most of the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's just a way to honor American musicians. Because originally, when the Pilgrims and them come over, they bring with them a lot of stuff from where they left. Rock and roll was one of the first original unique things that America did culturally. And so this is a museum honoring that sort of thing.
In Cleveland. Yeah, I've seen it. I've been there before.
Some would argue it should be in Memphis, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Mike, favorite Missy Elliott song? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Ooh, man. Favorite Missy
I Can't Stand the Rain is a great music video.
That's a great one. What's the one that she had?
Work It is a great one.
With Aaliyah. She had one with Aaliyah.
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah. It escapes me. The names of the songs, I can hear the rhythms and the sounds, but her collaborations, man, with Timbaland and Magoo, Aaliyah, and everything that she's done since then too, man, has been phenomenal. So she's deserving of it. She's from that area. Chris Brown is also from that area.
Yep.
So that Virginia Tidewater area has produced some phenomenal artists. And Jodeci, some of those guys are from that area too, man. So but Missy Misdemeanor Elliott deserves every single bit of it, and she's a pioneer. She's been a producer, an entertainer, an actress, and she's done everything. But she cut her teeth in music and rapping, and she's definitely a culture maker for sure.
An honor well deserved. That does it for this episode of HBCU Huddle. For Mike, I'm CJ. We'll talk to y'all later.